welcome to the podcast today. No episode yesterday, because I told you last week, if there's nothing to talk about, there's nothing to talk about. We are doubling up on guests and interviews today. Actually, a lot of people. We are going to start off with the crew from Maybe Cheese Born With It. Sugar and Keith will be on in just a second. No Mahogany. And if you did not know, our local food truck that you might have gotten a taste of at the Old West End Festival, or you've watched the show, The Great Food Truck Race, Maybe Cheese Born With It is in the finals for that show on the cusp of $50,000. And I try to get them to violate whatever non-disclosure agreement they signed. The publicist did not hop on the call, so we're clear. No lawsuits. They are having a viewing Sunday night. We'll get to that in the interview. We'll get to the Ghost Pepper Sugar 8 that did not air. And I wanted to know if there's another cause besides, the obvious. Quality Toledo, our friends in the LGBTQ plus community. Sugar was doing stuff for people with autism. If there's another cause that's close to her, and she hits that as well. Right after, what a segue. We're going to go from talking about the fabulous and delicious Great Food Truck Race and our local contestants to, would you like to become a Toledo police officer? Every 6 months or so, we have TPD drop by, and we have some new friends, Officer Hatch, Officer Neal, to talk about tpdhire.com. They are recruiting. There are some upcoming tests to take to see if you have what it takes to be a Toledo police officer and start off, one, getting paid at the academy, and two, graduating the academy and making like 50-some grand. It's a very tough job. There might be no more difficult time in our lives to be a police officer or someone in that type of position. The pay, I would say, for here is quite commensurate. If you're making $50-some thousand, look, we are all in different situations, but generally speaking, which I try to avoid, if you're making 50-some grand and you are on the young side and you don't have any college debt, that is really, really good. You could start a food truck pretty easily. Maybe Cheese Born With It. First up, then our friends from Toledo Police. Welcome to today's podcast. Sarah, are you going to step aside until I say something offensive and then you're going to come back and crack me? Maybe she's gone. Sarah, are you gone for good?
She's probably just chilling.
Hi, Sugar.
Hi.
I'm glad we got to do this because I missed the first round of all the fun, but I was so glad that you got to talk to everybody here.
Yeah, it was so insane and so fun.
Like everything hit, like the show premiered the same weekend as the Old West End Festival, right?
Yes.
Like all the stars were aligned for the media and the show and the festival. I hope the stars will be aligned on Sunday.
Thank you. I think that they will, but we gonna have to see.
How much would they fine you? And watch, here's the Sarah question. How much would they fine you if you violated the NDA?
I'm billions kidding. And billions.
Well, we're all going to win Mega Millions tonight anyway. Before we talk some cheese things, you're originally from Royal Oak?
Yes.
One of my favorite places is up there, though I've heard the restaurant has slipped a little bit, but the bar side is still a blast. Did you ever go to Pronto?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Yeah, I missed the heck out of that place when I lived up there. When I would go visit a friend of mine who lived in Royal Oak, I would always go there. Salads and then martinis and fun and heavy drinking.
Yes, everything good in the world.
Let's step ahead to Sunday night. Is there any kind of viewing party that you're doing anywhere?
Yes, we are going to be at the Brick downtown Toledo.
Okay.
From, I think, what was it, Keith?
8 p.m. to 10:30 p.m.
Okay.
So 8 from 9 will be a cocktail hour, 9 to 10 to show, and then a little bit of cocktails afterwards, wrapping it up.
Just a little bit of cocktails.
And hopefully lots and lots of celebrating.
I wouldn't know. Nice try.
I'm gonna keep prying. My friend Mary from the Blade told me that some of the other food trucks in the show were already getting like some kind of attention and whatnot. Have you been Have you reached the point of being overwhelmed yet? Like, I know there's I can book you on the website, but I'm guessing you've got to be backed up for weeks and maybe months. What's the attention been like from here locally, but everywhere else too?
I wouldn't say that we are overwhelmed. I'd say that we are perfectly whelmed.
Perfectly whelmed?
It's been overwhelming. The support's been amazing. Most of our weekends are pretty solidly booked for the next 2 months or so. We might have like 1 or 2 weekend openings just if all of the stars aligned. But right. Yeah, we are pretty well booked up.
What about, so since you are now a national entity,
so crazy.
Will you travel a little bit farther? Like maybe if it's just Columbus or Detroit or Chicago?
I mean, we're open to anything if the money's right, honey.
Right.
Oh. But we have so much support here in Toledo. I mean, it would really take something special to bring us out of this area because we can go, there's so many places in town where there's just demand for us. And we really want to give these people in Toledo who've been supporting us every opportunity to get our delicious mac and cheese.
Speaking of support, you want to show a little love to Keith, who is here, and Mahogany, because I know, they have been a great support with all of this.
Oh my God, Keithy Weethy's sitting next to me right now. He has been my rock. He's somewhere between a vice president and a personal assistant. I don't know what, but he's here all the time. And I mean, you see both of them on the show. They worked so hard. Keithy Weethy gave himself heat stroke. He went to the hospital after Glamis. He cracked a rib going down that sand dune. And then Mahogany. It was so beautiful to see her in this past week at Long Beach. There was the trans Pride Parade that came to our truck, and just seeing her face light up was such a special moment.
I know things had gotten testy at times. I remember watching Twitter the first week of the show, and there was the usual amount of idiots, but I'm glad things pointed in a good direction. Have you made any friends that you'll stay in contact with, or business contacts, or this is obviously like the memories for a lifetime, but do you have any of those people you'll take with you?
Oh, absolutely. On the show, Senoritas and us were there the whole time together, so we definitely grew close. Southern Pride Asian Fusion is another of the teams. They were such great dudes. We talked to them all the time.
Good.
Really, the entire filming experience. And then some of the people on the crew as well. I mean, we were a month and a half just really in the trenches with each other. There was one day off in the entire experience, and that is it. So we formed a lot of really close relationships to people that we still talk to today.
How long were the days? I know, we only see like 30 minutes an hour of a time when we're watching our favorite TV shows or movies or whatnot. But is it like an 18 or 20 hour day? How grueling was it?
It was the hardest we have ever worked, period. I had to get up at 4 a.m. every single morning to put on this makeup, and oh Lord, and then until 10 at night or later.
Right.
So yeah, it was 100 hours a week, every single week. It was exhausting and stressful, but so worth it.
Yeah,
there were definitely some mornings we would pull out the truck at 5 o'clock in the morning and not pull that truck back in until 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock that night.
Did you ever have those days where you look at one another and you just go, what did we get ourselves into? Now you take that breath and go, this is awesome, but I'm sure there were some times outside of one thing you ate I want to ask you about where you were like, what did we get ourselves into?
Oh my God, that was every day we were asking ourselves that all day. And we were the least experienced. We are such the underdogs in this entire competition. Everyone else had, decades of experience and awards and a salsa factory. And, we're there learning in front of the Food Network cameras and doing our darndest. And, it turns out hard work really does pay off because it was 100% hard work, scratching and clawing our way to this finale. And it just feels so great to have made it to this point.
Hold on. It was not 100% hard work. I mean, out of the hard work came the food. A big percentage of this is really good food too, right?
Oh, of course. But I mean, making the good food is hard work, baby.
Yep. I wanted to ask you this question, and I know the answer, and you alluded to it a little bit there, how you were kind of the amateurs, the rookies, there's professionals here. Do you feel you had an unfair advantage in the realm of your, let's say, presentation, fab, and glam?
I wouldn't call it an unfair advantage because every single team picked their outfits and did their own marketing. I just happened to pick better.
Yes, exactly. Wait, where's my quote here from my friend Mary at the Blade? Where is it? Something about it's the great food truck race, not the best meritorious meal or something like that. So I love that you could go out there and get customers like that. And I think it played to your advantage.
It definitely did. And I mean, that a food truck is a different beast. You're not sitting in a Michelin kitchen and nobody's waiting an hour and a half for their meal. It's about making quality food that people want to eat and getting it in their hands quickly and in a reasonable amount of time. And that's really one of the things that we excelled at.
To go back to sorry, keep going.
We just realized going out there, nobody wanted to walk up to a food truck and wait 30, 45 minutes. They want to walk up to a food truck and they want their food in their hands in less than 5 minutes. So that was one of our biggest things, is opening up, getting our food prepped and getting it to the customers as quick as we could.
To go back to the very beginning of this, Sugar, when did you have the aha moment to do Maybe Cheese More with the food truck?
It was honestly, it's all because of the Rona. I had been working here at Toledo at the Autism Model School for 7 years, and we had that long break because of the Rona. And when I went back to work, I think like a lot of Americans, I was like, you know what? I cannot do this job for this amount of money, hard stop, period. I can't do it. I love it, but the stress versus I need something else. So obviously, the obvious choice was a pink glittered food truck on the Food Network.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, you and everybody else. I'm actually surprised you're not booked like through the holidays. I know like some of the other people around here. I follow Bistro Burger pretty closely, and I know some of these places have had to get second trucks because people love this food truck revolution that we're living in right now.
Oh my God, definitely. A second truck is on our horizon. And I honestly think a brick and mortar as well. What Chipotle did for the burrito, I want to do for mac and cheese. That's my entire business concept. It's quick service, it's amazing food, and you can build your toppings in and out and love it. On the horizon, as in you're going to win on Sunday night? Because I don't know about that. You're not going to get me. The Food Network's listening, Eric Chase. Last couple of questions. Since you want to do brick and mortar, what part of town are you eyeing? Something on Adams Street or downtown or elsewhere? Baby, I am keeping my options absolutely open. So if you have a building and a good deal, give me a phone call. Okay. Last thing, unless there's anything else you want to add into all this, but can you tell me about the ghost pepper story that most people did not see? Oh my God. So in the very first week in Laguna Beach, we were standing there on the beach. He's doing the intro, and he said, and by the way, for $100 bonus, we have a ghost pepper. Who's going to eat it? And my hand flew up in the air. I'm like, well, I like $100. I've done a lot worse for a lot less. That was stupid of me. First of all, I don't even get my wings medium spicy. It's mild, and sometimes they're a little too zesty for myself. I ate this 100,000 billion Scoville, whatever the hell, ghost pepper, and my face turned purple. The noises that came out of my body were unholy and unchristian. Maybe that's why they couldn't use it. They could have done some fancy editing. It was like an exorcist had entered my body fighting with a demon. I was shooting flames. And then I had to chug milk and then run on the beach. So I almost threw up on everyone. That they probably would have used. Hopefully this will come out in some way, in some B-roll, on some social stuff. But this has been awesome. I'm glad everything has seemingly worked out nearly perfectly. You said Brick Bar on Sunday night, right? Absolutely. Awesome. It's going to be a good time. One last question outside of obviously the LGBT community, Quality Toledo. I heard you mention autism. Are there any other causes that you advocate for here where we live or beyond? One thing that I am really looking to do, and maybe if you're listening, you can give me a phone call if this is your organization. I really want to start giving back. And one thing that specifically is close to my heart is orphans, because I was orphaned when I was in high school. So there's so much that people like that need. I was orphaned and an only child. So It's rough. It was hard. And it was 20 years of really hard work to build myself back up to get where I am now. And so that is one cause that's near and dear to my heart, that I'm definitely looking for opportunities to help these people who need help.
Awesome. I will put the word out. Sugar, Keith, Mahogany out there, good luck. I feel good vibes.
Thank you.
And I'm glad we made it through this without Sarah cutting off the interview.
Okay, yes. I love it. We did good, huh?
Bye, everybody. Thank you so much. Good luck. Let me welcome Officers Hatch and Neal. We are here to talk some recruitment. Officer Hatch, there is a class in right now, I think.
Correct.
In the academy.
Yes.
But we're looking a little forward to that. This is for the next class of recruitment, right?
This is for next year. We're going to say March. Tentatively, we're looking to start a class in March. So we're recruiting right now. We're giving a test this Saturday, and our last test will be around August 20th.
So that'll be Saturday the 23rd, right? For those that hear this after the fact?
Correct.
And then when's that other one?
It's going to be August 20th or before.
What's on that test so people can be a little prepared?
It's just a general aptitude test. You got reading, writing, and a video portion.
What's on the video?
There are scenarios. It's scenario based, so you have to basically pick the best outcome of the scenario.
Got it. There are also physical needs physical requirements that have to be met as well. Is that after the testing fact and as you before you step into the academy?
That is. It's light physical, not nothing real tedious, I guess.
Isn't it like 7.5 minutes? You got to run a mile and a half?
No, it's not that bad.
Because a friend of my friend's fiance has been trying to get in, and whatever that number was, he just couldn't crack it, so he bailed on the test.
Aww.
And he was kind of stuck. Maybe you can give somebody some insight like this. He didn't want a no-call, no-show, but he also didn't want to show up and fail. Ultimately, he did reach out and go, look, I can't crack the number.
Right.
How rigid are those requirements? Because I know you, TPD, like Speedway and everybody else, has a hard time hiring. So are there any relaxed requirements or restrictions to get into the academy? Is everything as solid as it's always been?
It's they're more lenient now. I think they're going to lean towards if you are actually given the effort. Mm-hmm. Because we get people sometimes that we know that they haven't put an effort in, and it's just a waste of their time, to go through all this and take a test and not be physically, and mentally ready to take this test. So now I think they're going to be more lenient on the physical side. But saying that, you still want to be in shape.
Yeah.
But it goes by your age.
Sure.
Yep. So
what are the ages? Because I know that I've aged out of being in the academy. So
okay.
You have to park me behind a desk or something.
Yeah. So you can take the test at 20,
okay,
but you got to be 21 to get hired in the state of Ohio, and it's up to 39. You got to be 39 before the test is over with.
Let's get into this, just the lifestyle, life of being a Toledo police officer. People can easily look up the academy stuff. Every time I have spoken to someone doing this, I'm like, it's good money to start, and benefits. Good benefits. Officer Neal, hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for being here. Does anybody ever mistake you for Officer Dungeon?
No. Maybe a 14-year-old girl because I have a really light voice.
Okay.
But I am old enough to be a police officer, so
I wasn't saying you weren't. You just look like a mini Taylor. So, and I'm a big fan of Taylor,
like
and Mylan. Yes, always.
Well, as long as I'm likable, then that's all that matters.
I haven't gotten that yet. I don't know if you're likable.
Okay.
How long have you been with TPD, and what got you involved in the first place?
So I've been with TPD. This will be my 9th year.
So you started when you were 12.
Yeah, close.
Yes.
Yeah,
You're
I
a
started.
prodigy.
2023 I came on, 22, 23. I moved up here from West Virginia, so I'm not from the area.
What brought you here from West Virginia?
Actually the pay, because I was a CO in West Virginia, and I made $10 an hour. I didn't like the lifestyle of a corrections officer. I worked a lot of hours. Wanted to move into law enforcement, so I moved here just by they were hiring. They picked me up first, and I packed up my bags and moved up here from West Virginia.
Welcome to Toledo. We're glad you're still here.
9 years. So
I didn't catch you when you first got here. Officer Hatch, how long have you been with the force? What initially got you involved in all of it?
19 years. I got on in 2003, and I just needed a job, man. I just, basically needed a job with benefits, take care of the family.
Outside of the extremes, the ability to save a life, the other end of that is you might have to take a life. What are some perks of the job that you really enjoy? Is it the camaraderie, the friendship that you make? Maybe there's free food in the break room like we have here. Again, outside of those extremes, what are the perks and some of the drawbacks that you guys find in the line of work?
Well, the camaraderie, obviously, it's paramilitary. I was former military, so I actually went to college for exercise physiology and realized I need to lean more to a career that was paramilitary. Mm-hmm. So I just kind of did a whole career change and enjoyed my relationships I made here in Toledo. And yeah.
Some of the downsides, other than the obvious, because I want to be completely forthcoming with people, and you do as well, as we're not wasting anybody's time. What are some of the drawbacks that you deal with the job?
So drawbacks is if you're not used to high intensity situations, you are going to be involved in that. However, our training is very intense, we're very well trained as officers, so we're able to handle all the situations that we encountered. My struggle when I first moved here was Toledo as a city. I'm from a rural area that had one street light. I moved here not knowing the area, so I was not familiar with the streets. So the geographical side of things was a struggle for me. But as far as police in general, I think the struggle is you just got to be mentally fit and prepared to handle every situation.
But your training helps you with that, right?
Yeah, yes.
Now, Officer Hatch, I'll come over to you with these questions, but I want to come back to Officer Neal for a second. If you could give me a snapshot of this, like a percentage of your week, how much of it is that high intensity, high stress stuff, and how much is it more low intensity, smaller things, but people are still reaching out for the police force? If you could just put a percentage on that and maybe ballpark it, I won't hold you to anything, but I'm just personally curious.
Well, it just depends on what shift you work. Like right now, obviously my job's not stressful. I'm in backgrounds and recruitment.
This isn't stressful right now?
Well,
I can amp it up if you want.
No, but after 3 years, you're able to put in bids for different units and different specialized units, and there's different stresses in all units. But as a street patrol officer, where most people start, there's a lot of situations. You could go be getting coffee at the local gas station, and then all of a sudden you get a cold 3 shots fired, and now you're immediately snap into high intensity mode. So you just have to be able to turn on that high intensity mode and be able to turn it off when you're just dealing with a normal citizen with a normal, problem that they have.
Officer Hatch, some of the highs and lows that appeal to you about the job, or some of the things that you just kind of shake your head at?
Well, it's just the media, you know what I'm saying? Because
that's us.
Yes, but not all the media. Just some that depicts that all police are bad, and we're not, and we're just out here trying to do a job, and at the end of the day, we're all still human, So I don't, demean anybody or take advantage of anybody or nothing like that because of the uniform that I wear.
For years now, even before COVID hit, and when I had the chance to speak with Chief Krall and Taylor and Hassan, friends of mine, the job even before COVID has never been more challenging, and because everybody's got a phone, everybody everywhere is under a microscope. I saw yesterday, I'm originally from Philadelphia, big drama at Sesame Place, of all places. You can find it all over Twitter, but it's magnified even more so because there are lives on the line with what you do. So I completely understand that, and just that everybody's got their phone out all the time trying to find a way for you to slip up.
Yes.
What are some of other than saving a life, whatever it might be. What are some of the high points of the job that you really like that people might not see?
It's just we don't have to be pat on the back, for every little thing that we do. It's been times when I worked the street where I would get out and help a lady with her trash can, help a kid, get on the bike. It's just little things that the general public, they still thank you for.
Yeah.
So it's just the little things that and this job wears many hats. One day you might be a big brother, you might be a stepdad, you might be, it's just many hats to this uniform that you wear when you put it on. So
Officer Neal, we talked about after 3 years you might be able to step away from being on patrol. What are some of those opportunities if somebody is considering work with the police force but maybe doesn't want to be out on the streets?
Right. So the great thing about Toledo Police Department is that we're a large department and we have many specialized units and many opportunities for people to go into those units. So, for instance, if after 3 years, you decide you don't want to work the street anymore and you want to be a detective, we have our own detective bureau, which is, if you work for a smaller department that only has 35 officers, usually everybody's a detective. Where not us. We're very busy in our detective bureau, so we have officers that are strictly just detectives trying to figure out cases. So
that's a big pay bump too, right?
Yes. So we have it go yes. Your pay increases. You get court time, overtime. Overtime's essentially time and a half, so it's almost $50 an hour. So people don't realize the extra incentives that you have as a Toledo police officer. So.
Also, like community engagement stuff. I know Officer Dungeon had kind of segued over to that. There's Officer Chaib driving the ice cream truck, things like that are, I guess, more social involvement with the community, shaking hands, handing out ice cream, doing this stuff.
Yes. So we have all kinds of units. We have is actually community services, where we have officers just specifically out in the community trying to help citizens. Then we have, our vice narcotics. They deal with just the drug task force, and we have gangs that deal with the gang violence, and those officers specialize in those units, so they can just focus. They don't have to focus on call-to-call service. They can just focus on the gang violence.
You're not in West Virginia anymore, Officer Neal.
Right.
Officer Hatch, what does a day look like you for? Having been on the force about twice as long as Officer Neal, and probably many out there right now, what's a day in the life of your week look like? I'm
trying to get good candidates to pass the torch. I want to see the department thrive, but I want the right person to be in the uniform. So that's basically my job. Is to try to fill the footsteps of the people that's retiring, because we do have a lot of retirees, I should say. So that's basically the life that I'm living now, is trying to get people to take this test. If they know anybody that's ever wanted to be a police officer, that's still in the age range and can physically do the job, to come on and take the test, basically.
Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up by Sleepy Hollow. I was a Rogers Ram.
Okay.
So.
Let me ask you this. We're serious on the subject. Over the last couple of years, when we're having these discussions, my people, when we're doing this community stuff, there are many ways that we can all improve some of the problems that we read about every day. Unfortunately, the world is a tinderbox right now, and every day there's a spark. Unfortunately, one of the things that I've thrown out there, and others have as well, is if you have a problem with a police officer, if you're talking about what you mentioned earlier, what bothers you a little bit, join the damn force. Right. Make a change from the inside. Yes. What kind of response have you gotten in that with the neighborhoods that you've grown up in, or some of the inner cities where there are a lot of issues? And you know what? It's like you can either join a gang or you can join the police force. What kind of response in that regard have you gotten?
It's still the same. Sometimes it's changed, but for the most part, we have been good here in Toledo of getting a good response, inner city wise and in troubled areas where people still take the test, even though they might have lived a not so, a challenging geographical life than others, but they still taking the test and have gotten higher.
Good.
Yep, so.
I know it's important. I do a lot of mental health advocacy, and there are times if I go to Woodward, I'm kind of scoffed at a little bit. Depending if I'm wearing the right Black Panther shirt or not, or the right Batman shirt, it depends. I know looking like who you're working with can often be a big help.
Yes.
So when I see a lot of the problems that we have with the gun violence and everything, it's like, how about shooting for the good guys?
Yes.
Be a part of the solution if you want to be.
Yes.
Back to the academy stuff. I know the chief had said something kind of to inspire or scare the hell out of the latest group of recruits. I think it was like 61 or 69 people. And he said, I want everybody to get through this 100%. We're probably not there. I know there was the girl with the tree, I think. And I know that there are always dropouts. What is your advice, both of your advice, to push through? Because the first week, the first month has to be hell, where you're thinking in your head, what the hell am I doing? How do you get through that?
Right. Basically, you just have to take a deep breath. You kind of got to isolate yourself from the things that you used to do, because trouble will find you. You're not looking for it, but it will find you. When I went through the academy, I pretty much was a hermit. You know, I studied, I stayed at home, I did push-ups, sit-ups, you know, and just, I played a little Xbox here and there. But, you know, you got to have your mind, and you got to get your mind right in order to take this job, because you'll never be the same. Once you get this job, you'll never be the same person.
What are some of the things in the academy that are different from when you went through it as opposed to now?
Well, when I went through, the only difference I would say would probably be the year. I mean, things are still the same. It's the same building, the same route that they run. The weather was a little different because mine was in December, and they're out here in the summer and stuff like that.
How about the intellectual and technical stuff?
It's still the same. It's just different people, So you got a lot of good trainers. We got a lot of good officers out there just putting in work, just training the academy cadets in order to, be the best they can be when they get out on the street.
Did they give you, because I get invited in every so often to speak to them to talk about mental health situations, and I have a great friend that I present with. She's at the extreme. I am the only person that I could be in danger would be myself.
Okay.
That stuff probably wasn't spoken much about when you went through the academy, or was it?
Yeah, we did scenarios, but it's more prevalent now.
Yeah.
It is more prevalent now.
Yeah, nobody wants to pull a weapon out. Nobody wants to get physical. I mean, we can solve a lot of our problems with words.
Right.
Officer Neal, what would your advice be to that hellish first week or first month where somebody's like, what the hell am I doing? Other than thinking about the $25 an hour rather than $15 an hour.
Right. So the first 2 weeks is not OPATA classes, not OPATA hours. So what does that mean? OPATA is your certificate on what you get when you graduate as a police officer, and that's what you're going to be training. It's all OPATA hours, all certification on the state. So the first 2 weeks, it's going to be yelling, kind of like a boot camp. They're going to have drill sergeant hats on. They're there to weed out the people that aren't mentally prepared to be screamed at, because you are going to be screamed at on the street. You are going to have to handle high intense situations. They're there to weed out those people. Now I can say for this class, and I've only been in the backgrounds unit for 3 or 4 years, but the people that I put through for this class, most of them were prior military. So this last class, we only had a couple drop out. And the year before, we had 11 drop out the first 2 weeks. And I think it's because we're getting more paramilitary people, more prior experience with the yelling and screaming. But honestly, you just get through the first 2 weeks, and it's like class at Owens. So,
as we get closer to wrapping up here, some details. Where can people find out a little bit more? Is it still tpdhire.com?
Yes, that's correct.
And I think it's like once you're out of the academy, you get paid. I know one of the perks that we have here is you get paid while you're in the academy, right?
Yes.
And it's like $45,000 as soon as you step out.
Well, it went up a little bit more. Yeah, it went up a little bit more.
Shame I'm too old.
So the full base rate for 2023 is what they're going to be at. Once they get out of the academy and out of training is $34.75 hourly, and that's going to be the base rate. They actually get a 50 cents hour for working the street and a 50 cents an hour for working an off shift. So they're going to be at $35.75 an hour when they reach that base rate after their training.
And incredible city benefits, right?
Yes. The medical. If you have children, the medical is amazing.
TPDhire.com. A couple of tests coming up. The last one, Officer Hatch, should be around August 20th or so.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. Good luck with all this. I know it is an extreme challenge to get people in, but it sounds like we're doing it with the people leaving the military. So that's perhaps a way to grab some people, and because I know we need people out in the streets.
Yes.
Last couple of things. Is there with this platform? Is there anything you'd like to share out there? We got a big voice right now. I know there's a lot of people running red lights because the cameras are off right now, and some of the places I sit on the internet, I see repeated questions like, "Why do they just let people go?" Anything out there you want to throw out? We have the platform right now. You can share it out there.
I really just want people to spread the word, try to get people to take the test. Like I said, we got one this Saturday. You can call today. Our number is 419-245-1075. Give us a call. We'll sign you up, get you ready for this test Saturday. If not, then we got another one before August 20th. That's it.
And stop running red lights.
Yes.
It's dangerous.
Stop running red lights.
Officer Neal, Officer Hatch, thank you so much for the time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For having
Appreciate
us.
you. Yes.